We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insight, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Thursday, January 8th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin and this is News Generation. And joining us today is Ki.
Good morning.
Good morning. And also Jun's with us.
Good morning, Sujin.
Good morning. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're nearly at the end of the week and you might feel like it's dragging on you. So here's something that might catch your attention. It's none other than hair loss. So that's something we usually associate with the older generations, right? But did you know that around 40% of people experiencing hair loss are actually millennials and Gen Zs? So Ki, let me ask you this. Have you ever worried about losing your hair, even if it's just for a moment?
Yes, I do all the time. Since early 30s it became my concern, and especially with my job, I have to constantly appear in public or in front of the camera, and the hair loss has become an especially big issue and huge stress. So I do go to the hair clinic and getting treatment done, trying every possible measure to keep them alive.
And they look good. It looks
Thank
good. What about you, Jun?
Yes, I do worry about it too, like Ki-han. But the thing is, I think this is the first time revealing this to our viewers. I do have a thin spot on the left side of my back, my hairline. Well, I didn't use my black hair powder today in order to be honest with our viewers today. Well, it goes way back to my childhood. My older brother, he called it accident. He accidentally stuck chewing gum on my hairline, and ever since, no hair growing back.
Oh, no. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that can relate to this as well. So it really shows how deeply hair is connected to confidence and how universal that concern has become. And as Jian mentioned, this isn't even just a men's issue anymore. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. Hair loss can be deeply distressing, affecting not just appearance but confidence and mental well-being. And contrary to popular belief, it's no longer an issue limited to the older generations. In fact, more people in their 20s and 30s are now taking medication for hair loss than those in older age groups. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at what causes hair loss, the recent remarks by the president on potential support for hair loss treatment, and explore how discussions around national health insurance coverage in Korea could move forward. As we just saw in the video, hair loss is no longer something only the older generations worry about. In fact, the numbers suggest younger people are actually taking it even more seriously. So Ki, just how common is hair loss treatment among the different age groups here in Korea?
Sure. So according to a recent survey in South Korea, if you take a look at the screen now, 31% of people in their 20s and 35% in their 30s say they are taking medication for hair loss. Figures significantly higher than those in their 40s at 26% and 50s in their 16%. So hair loss was once seen as a middle-aged issue, but today it's something that the MZ generation is paying far closer attention to. So while hair loss is largely genetic, factors such as stress, lack of sleep, and nutritional imbalances caused by going on a diet are also known contributing factors. And because hair loss is highly visible, meaning you lose hair, you notice it right away. So it has become an even bigger concern for MZ consumers, a generation that places strong value in a clean, well-groomed appearance.
So it looks like hair loss isn't just happening earlier. The younger generations also seem far more aware and proactive about it. So even for millennials and Gen Zs who don't yet show symptoms, Jian, are they already doing something to prevent their hair loss? And how strong is that awareness compared to the older generation?
Well, yes, they are. Well, the younger generation, they are taking this issue, hair loss, very, very seriously. Well, surveys show that 61% of people in their 20s and 58% in their 30s are interested in hair loss prevention, compared with 48% in the 40s and 49% in their 50s. Well, this actually tells us concerns starts much earlier for Gen Z, even before symptoms appear. Research outside Korea also suggests that many members of Gen Z rank hair loss as one of their top fears of aging even ahead of wrinkles or weight gain. So this actually highlights how closely hair loss is linked to their confidence and overall well-being. As a result, many GenZs without symptoms focus on prevention these days, using anti-hair loss shampoos or supplements instead of medication. And personally, I eat some black soybeans, or known as horitekong, every single day as a small preventive habit. So we prefer prevention over regret.
Right, so that level of concern really shows how seriously the younger generations view hair loss, not just as a cosmetic issue, but as something that affects daily life and also confidence. And that concern has actually now reached a political level. So recently the president made comments about hair loss treatment that sparked a lot of debate. So what exactly did the president say about this and how it's currently being handled under Korea's national health insurance program?
Sure. So recently, the president has suggested reviewing the possibility of including hair loss treatment under the national health insurance system, describing hair loss as an issue of survival. Right now in South Korea, medical hair loss such as alopecia areata or hair loss following chemotherapy is partially covered by national health insurance. However, genetic hair loss, including male pattern or female pattern baldness, which accounts for the vast majority of cases, is classified as a cosmetic issue. As a result, treatment for genetic hair loss remains excluded from insurance coverage.
So while the comments certainly caught public attention, expanding insurance coverage isn't a simple decision. So Chun, what are main concerns when it comes to including hair loss treatment under this insurance system? Because I would think why wouldn't you?
Well, I think before we start, we should just think about the meaning, the true meaning of healthcare service, who it is meant to target. Well, healthcare insurance is meant to cover some essential medical care, especially conditions that are life-threatening or significantly affect, I said significantly affect daily functioning. Well, that's why there is sort of a debate over whether hair loss truly falls into this category. So some worry that expanding those coverage to hair loss could strain the insurance budget. So it could reduce resources for some urgent treatments, urgent issues, such as the critical ones. And others also point out that once hair loss is covered, it can open the door to other surgeries like plastic procedures. So raising questions of fairness and the boundaries of it. When it comes to healthcare, I think we ought to think about our priorities.
I see where it could be a fine line. So clearly this issue sits right at the intersection of health, quality of life, and also public spending. So let's put that debate to the test with a quick OX quiz. So we both have our OX pounds. So hair loss treatment, the first one. Hair loss treatment should be covered by the national health insurance system, yes or no? Kim, what would you say?
I wish. Well, I used to be on the negative side before. Like Jiyeon says, healthcare needs some sort of priority, but now I think a bit differently. It has become social survival. It also connects to the mental health issue. Korean society thinks the look is very important, which was even reviewed by various newspapers outlets around the world, and does give a lot of stress. And since it's becoming a social concern, I think we could consider getting some help.
I can see why this is stressful, because it's so hard to hide compared to like bad skin or whatever. You said no. What are your thoughts?
I said no. I sound a little bit harsh, but I do understand you can lose confidence, and also it's very stressful indeed. But when you think about healthcare system, it should be targeted. It should be used for those who actually need it, necessary for survival or social sustainability, such as infertility or any other illness, serious illness. So hair loss is a genuine concern for many people. I do agree in that point, but it is actually largely managed through personal choices. That's my opinion.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yes.
I can see your point as well. So we have one more. So hair loss is an issue of survival, not just appearance. What are your thoughts on this?
Survival. Yeah, well, I would say somewhat level it is, because like I said before, it's not or like Jiyeon said before, it's not a life or death situation, but for some, like going on an interview for a job, even having a blind date, not just for a few specific job categories, now it has become a wider concern for the society.
What are your thoughts on this?
I still sound like a mean girl, but yes, it is emotionally challenging indeed, and also distressing as well. But it is not a condition that directly directly links to your life and your survival. Hair loss affects appearance and confidence, of course, I do understand, but not your physical survival. So the key question is whether hair loss qualifies as urgent medical care.
So as we can see, even our panel is split on this, which shows just how complicated this issue really is. So we also wanted to hear directly from our viewers. So we asked on the Arirang News YouTube channel, does hair loss affect your quality of life? So here's what the results showed. Nearly half of respondents, 47%, said hair loss affects their quality of life very much. Another 23% said it affects them sometimes. Meanwhile, 16% said not really, and 14% said not at all. So for about 7 in 10 respondents, hair loss has at least some impact on daily life, and that helps explain why this issue resonates so strongly with a lot of people and why the debate over insurance coverage probably isn't going away anytime soon. And to get a broader perspective on this, we're speaking with someone from the US who shares many of the same concerns as young people here in Korea. And that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
We're joined today by Francois Harris, American millennial, to talk about why hair loss is an issue many young people around the world are paying attention to. Hello, thank you so much for connecting with us today, especially on this topic.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes.
So to dive right into it, so do you think personally hair loss should be seen mainly as a cosmetic issue or more as a quality of life, even survival issue?
Well, I think it could be looked at both as a quality of life issue and a cosmetic issue. I think from my standpoint, when I had hair, I walked around with more confidence and people could see the confidence that I exuded when I went to work or when I went to school. When my hair began to leave me, then the confidence didn't leave me entirely, but I would feel more dejected walking around. So as far as quality of life, my motivation left me a little bit. On the cosmetic side, I think for people who don't experience things like alopecia that can affect their hair loss, it looks bad. People just think that it looks bad when you're walking around without a full set of hair because it's kind of like your brand. Your hair represents your brand and you are your brand. So.
Thank you. I hear you. How are people with the hair loss generally perceived in the U.S. As opposed to Korea, and how has that perception changed in recent course of years?
Whoa, I think there's a big stigma around having a loss of hair or having no hair at all. As I said before, when I had hair in America, I felt very proud, very confident. When I lost my hair, I could see people look at me differently. And it kind of made me more self-conscious about putting myself in public. And as a speaker, I would go into events. And after seeing one person look at me strangely because I have no hair, my mind started to race. And now I'm looking around the entire room and I'm like, oh my God, how many people are looking at me, because I have no hair? So it can make me go into other frames of thought that I otherwise would not go.
I understand. Then, Francois, do you think that hair loss treatment should receive government support or be covered by public health insurance?
Wow, I guess that's a question that can be answered by people living within the confines of a specific government. That's tough because some taxpayers think that hair loss is a quality of life or survival issue, so it should be covered by national insurance. Me personally, I don't know. I don't think so because even though I don't like being bald and I can empathize with other people who don't like being bald, I think there are other medical issues that deserve more care, attention, and monetary support than hair loss.
I mean, for what it's worth, I think you look great. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much for the compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So we just heard from a young person from the US about how attitudes toward hair loss, from social perception to government support, compare with what we're seeing in Korea. And this debate surrounding hair loss treatment is still in its early stages. So looking ahead, Ki, how do you think discussions around hair loss support should move forward, and what needs to be considered for the conversations to continue and expand?
Well, like you said, as discussion is still in the early stage, and we've been talking about this. Even at the National Congress, some of the congressmen had this as a bill to be passed, or now it's being postponed. But a broader range of public voices needs to be heard. And if this debate is to move forward in any meaningful way, securing sustainable funding and carefully reviewing financing options will be essential to expanding the scope of the discussion.
Right, I think public funding has always become a really big issue. So what are your thoughts on this, Chun?
Well, we do know that interest in hair loss is very, very high in the country and also abroad. And we do know that the treatments and technologies, from medication to hair transplants, continue to evolve. And I wonder you guys have experienced and tried Korean wig before?
Oh, I haven't.
I have. You do. And I have 3 wigs in my house. I try
Really?
them differently because if I want to have some different styling, it is the best one. I think Korea's wigs are one of the best in the world. And also Korea's scalp care service, it is the best. I do think that because it is evolving. It's a fast growing industry right now in the Asia Pacific region. And in fact, lots of foreigners are visiting Korea in order to get that service, and it's because it's very good, affordable treatments are for you. For example, in the US, in order to get a one scalp care service, one session, it costs around $300 to $500 for one.
That's a huge amount.
That is it, and which is 7 times higher, 7 times more expensive than in Korea. I once had a roommate. She is from Democratic Republic of Congo, and she had some scalp issue with her hair. And once trying Korea's hair scalp the service, she couldn't leave Korea. She said that this is the best place to receive those treatments. So this obviously shows that solutions already exist for us. There are many personal options that we could do. Rather than rushing some decisions, rushing into those policies, it may be more practical, very sensitive issues, but it could be more practical to focus on informed personal options that we already have, technologies, medications, supplements. So awareness is already here for us. So decisions can take their time.
And I'm really glad that you highlighted scalp treatments in Korea, because obviously Korea is known for beauty treatments, but I feel like hair or like scalp treatment aren't as well known. So I'm glad you highlighted that.
K-beauty.
K-beauty. So hair loss may start with appearance, but as we've seen today, it often touches confidence, daily life, and even how society defines health and well-being. And for younger generations, hair loss is no longer something to ignore or accept quietly. So whether it's through prevention, treatment, or open conversation, it's an issue many are choosing to confront head on. So as awareness grows and the conversation expands, how this issue is addressed both medically and socially is likely to keep evolving. So that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 Korea time with more stories and discussions. And a big thanks to Ki.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also Chun.
Thank you for having me.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.